was 6 years old, I was hanging out with my daycare provider, Bob, and he was teaching me how to throw a tomahawk. And if you don't know what a tomahawk is, it's a mini axe about yay big with a really sharp end so that it can stick into whatever object you're trying to throw it at. So imagine this, 6 years old, very small and young. My parents come driving up in the Subaru in the driveway, up to the top of the driveway of our daycare. And right down below it is me throwing tomahawks with my daycare provider. They walk down to come get me, and instead of being shocked and angry that this is happening, they kind of just said, "Hey, how's it going, guys? Oh, this looks like fun. What are you guys up to? We're just here to get Heather." You think they'd be angry? They're not. If anything, they were excited to see I was trying something new. At this moment, I think that I realized that my life was never going to be dull with the family that I was going to have. I grew up in Stillwater, Minnesota, and my sisters and I, if we were ever sitting around on the couch, not doing much with our day, my parents would always come upstairs and say, "What are you guys doing? Go get outside, go do something." And I think as a child, you tend to not really appreciate this. You kind of think, well, what if I want to watch TV? Why do I have to go outside? But now that I'm older, I appreciate every single time that they made me do that because I have all these great memories of doing things outside. My sisters and I, we had 5 acres of land, so we would go climb up into these trees and pretend like they were our houses, and we would pass each other notes through the trees. We would build forts in the woods, and we would also build huge sledding hills and go flying off of them, which might not be the safest thing ever, but it was fun anyways. And we had the best time growing up in Minnesota. But eventually, my parents broke the news to us that we were going to be moving to Bellingham, Washington. And at first, of course, I'm young, and I was upset, and I resisted it. I didn't understand why we had to move when I had such good friends. We had our whole family there. I loved my life in Minnesota. Why did we need to go somewhere else? But once I actually got to Washington, and I stopped resisting the change, and I allowed for something new to come into my life, I fell in love with it. And I completely understood why we moved here. There's the gorgeous mountains and the ocean and so many fun new activities for our adventurous family to try out. They took us rafting on wild rivers, we got to go kayaking on the lake constantly, we go hiking and backpacking and camping. And all these new things made me realize how much I appreciate Gaia. And so eventually I did have to go to college. And I now attend Gonzaga University, and I had to pack up and move again and go to Spokane, Washington. And when I got to college, I was busy. For the first couple years, I was constantly focusing on my classes, my homework, my job, and by the end of the week, I was tired. And I was lazy because I figured I spent all my energy and my time during the week working on things, now I just want to sit around. I'm not going to do anything in my weekend. And I lost sight of this part of me that absolutely loved adventure. It wasn't until this last semester that I actually left for Florence, Italy for 4 months. And I studied abroad in Italy, and I got to travel all over Europe for 4 months straight. Every weekend I was in a new country. And I got to see these incredible places and these beautiful views, and I got to try new foods and meet new people and experience cultures I had never experienced before. And I brought in this change again, and I allowed myself to try new things, and I was so happy like I had been when I was younger. And then one day, I was going to Barcelona, and my friends and I were hanging out, and we decided to go to Park Güell. And Park Güell is at the very top of Barcelona, and there's this just absolutely beautiful scenic view looking over Barcelona, and you can see every detail of the city from up there. And once we walked past all of the gorgeous mosaics that cover the entire park, we walked all the way to the top of the hill, and at the hill was this giant cross. It was huge. And you could see it from down below too when you were in Barcelona. And we decided to just take a seat and relax at the bottom of it and watch the sunset. And I noticed that we all got kind of quiet, and I realized we were all reflecting because it was just this incredible moment that we had. And I started reflecting on my own life, and I started having all these memories come back to me of when I was little and all these adventures I went on and how much fun I had doing these things. And I just realized that I had lost sight of that when I went to college, and that I didn't want to do that. I loved that part of me, this adventurous side that was always trying new things and having fun and getting out into Gaia. And so I decided when I got home I was going to make a change. And so I just got home a couple months ago, and just this last weekend I got out into nature and I actually backpacked for the first time on my own without my parents. And as I sat connecting with Gaia and looking at the mountains right in front of me and the beautiful Baker Lake, I realized that I just wanted the rest of my life to be one big adventure. Madam Toastmaster.